Okay, so we talked about, I remember you emailed me recently about the topic that you wanted to talk about.
Right.
It was about because your industry is real estate
Yeah.
for seniors,
For
correct?
seniors. Right. Correct. Yeah. So
Okay.
I focus on the senior market. I live in the largest retirement community in the world called the Villages in Florida.
Okay.
So my client base primarily are 55 and older, um, buyers and sellers looking to either sell here or buy here, typically from the Northeast part of the United States, or now from the West Coast as well. They're coming in from California, Washington State, and Oregon as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'm originally from Washington State, and then I have family in Oregon and California, so
Oh, okay.
I'm familiar with that. So, well,
Yeah.
very cool. Um, yeah, I know Florida is really popular with people who are retired. They're looking to go somewhere warm where it's not going to freeze them out in the winter, right? So,
Right. Although it's a little nippy here, it's yesterday and today. It's like
oh,
40, it's like
yeah.
47 degrees outside right now.
Yeah, because we're getting colder than normal temperatures, and then, you know, the Northwest, the west side of the US is getting warmer than normal
Right.
temperatures.
Right. Yeah,
Hmm.
we're usually in, during the day, we're usually in the low to mid 70s this time of year. And at night, we get down into the 40s, 50s, with about a week or 10 days or so getting down into the 30s at night. So,
Okay, so just very short time being in the freezing temperatures.
correct. Yeah. I mean, if you're in South Florida, they might get a couple of days. We're in Central Florida, so we get a week to 10 days of cool nights. During the day, it's usually not too bad.
Well, good.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of experience with, so how long have you been doing this for?
So I've been doing it for 11 years. This is my second go around. I started in 1980 after getting out of the Army in
Okay.
Manhattan in New York. Um, so I
Mhm.
did it for 6 years there, and actually, I guess 6 years here, so 12 years. Uh, After I started my real estate career in Manhattan in New York, I went back to school to get into the technology field. So I was in technology for 32 years. When I decided to leave Atlanta, Georgia, I figured there's not going to be a whole lot of technology in senior communities, so might as well go back into real estate. So I guess I've been in real estate now 12 years plus, and 6 years here in the Villages and the surrounding communities. So I primarily focus myself on 55 plus communities.
Mhm.
And a lot of the questions I get is, I've lived in my house for 20, 30, 40 years. How is it that I downsize? I'm thinking about downsizing or right sizing, as I like to call it. Um, what do I do with all my stuff? So that's a big question that people have, because they're typically coming from 3,000, 3,500 square foot or larger homes, and they're
Mhm.
coming now to 2,000 square foot or less.
Yeah.
So I kind of tell people what I did, um, which it seems like a lot of people have taken my suggestion and ran with it. But what I did when I moved from a 3,600 square foot house down to a 1,600 square foot house. So I really downsized. I
Yeah.
downsized by about 2,000 square feet. So what I did was I I had I had made piles. What was I bringing to Florida?
Mhm.
what was I going to do in a garage sale, what was going to Goodwill, and
Yeah.
I gave both of my kids a tag to tag things that they wanted.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So what happens is you wind up having five. In my case, there were five because I have two children. I had
Hmm.
five places things were going to go to. So of course I picked first because they were my things. I picked
Hmm.
first, and my wife and I picked first, and we decided what we were going to bring to Florida. And then both of our children picked what they wanted.
Hmm.
And then anything else was going to be, we did a garage sale.
Yeah.
I think we did a garage sale twice. And then anything that was left over, we brought to Goodwill so that they could sell it and employ some people and help some people. So
Hmm.
that's kind of the system that I put in place. And people ask me the question. So I just tell them my story, and they seem to go with it. And in a lot of cases, some of the kids, they don't want anything because they don't want our stuff. Even though it might be their stuff, it
They don't want it. Yeah.
they don't want it. They want to start new, they want to start their own.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much my daughter, where my son, on the other hand, was willing to take just about anything he could get his hands on.
Everybody's a little different, right? With
Yeah,
their comfort level of what they want to
right.
take. I know I still have a lot of stuff at my parents' house that, maybe I'll get it someday, maybe not, but everybody's different on that. And so that's a great technique that you use, just using your story to help other people. That's what people connect to and can relate to.
Right. And I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? Why,
Mhm.
you know, in some cases, people don't bring anything down. So they cut that piece of it out because they want to start fresh with all new furniture and things like that. They may, more than likely they're just bringing their clothes
Yeah.
and the basics, where when they come down, they want to buy new bedroom sets, new living room sets, new dining room sets and things like that. And they just want a new lease on life, if you will, of starting from scratch, because they've
Hmm.
had a collection of things for so many years. They just want a new start, which makes a lot of sense too, because Florida colors are different than Northeast colors, right? In the Northeast, we're more wood tone colors, darker woods and things like that. Down here in Florida, kind of like that wood right there.
Hmm.
In my case, I did bring some wood things down. Most of them were lighter colors. This actually was bought here in Florida. So
Okay.
it's just a matter of what it is that you're used to and what you like, or you want
Hmm.
to change to, is really what happens with what people want to do. They want to spend money, they don't want to spend money. Kind of a variety of different ways of thinking about what it is that you want to do in your new home once you get here. So it's really more personal preference. But that was my story, and that I tell that story often when people ask, how did you get rid of your stuff? And that's how I did it. It really wasn't rocket science. It was kind of basic.
When I moved across the country from Washington State to Alabama, I got rid of lots of stuff
Right.
and basically brought like one U-Haul truck with my little car behind it. Um, I was pretty much starting over, like just earlier in life. And so I can imagine that when you're ready to retire, you're moving to Florida, it's time to look at, how much do you have to spend? And so it sounds like you work a lot with that because you sell the properties, right? And so
Correct.
you're working with whatever their budget is and finding the best option for them. How
Yes.
do they save? How do they know how much to save? Things like that.
Yeah, a lot of them have sold a property and they're looking to take that money, save some of it, and buy something new for themselves. So
Okay.
it works out well. Many of my customers tend to buy cash, and some do mortgage as well, because with interest rates as low as they are,
Hmm.
why not use somebody else's money?
Yeah. Make it work for you, right?
Right, exactly. So when interest rates are at 3, 4, even 2.5%, it's
Hmm.
really hard looking at it from how the stock market's doing and things like your investments that you can put your money into today.
Hmm.
You're more than likely going to make more than what your interest rate is on a mortgage. So
Yeah.
why not take advantage of that market right now? And I remember when interest rates were 17, 18, 19% in the early 80s,
Wow.
and you couldn't do that, right? You had to come to the
Yeah.
table with cash because you just couldn't afford to borrow money at those types of interest rates.
No, that's outrageous.
Yeah.
I didn't
So
realize that in the 80s. Interesting.
yeah, so in the early 80s, interest rates got up there. Now, if you were an investor and you were investing your money, you made really good money, really good returns. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
it's kind of a juggle of, yeah, I want to make more money on my money. I mean, like if you were in bonds in the early 80s, you were really doing well. Um, there were
Yeah.
times you were making 20, 25% on your money year after year.
Wow.
So you could do really well from an investment perspective. It just also cost you a lot more than it
Mhm.
does today. So I'm seeing more people looking at using the mortgage vehicle if they can. Um, right now, the way the market is with multiple offers, if you have cash and you bid high enough, you're going to win.
You're set to go with is it a seller's market in Florida as well, I'm assuming?
It's very much a seller's market. I mean, I
Wow.
heard yesterday somebody bidding $60,000 over ask and they still lost. So it
Because
is, it
it's
is,
not about the money, is it? I mean, it is, but just the money is not going to get you where the house, the property.
it's not always going to get you the house if you're just bidding barely over what the asking price is.
The
It really,
60,000 sounds significant, but
it
maybe
is,
that's just not enough with.
it is significant.
Mhm.
It was significant in this case, and it's hard to believe that um, people are willing to spend that much more than what a house potentially could appraise for.
That's
Because,
incredible.
yeah, because what they have to do, if they're doing a mortgage, they've got to bring whatever percentage down the mortgage company requires them, plus the additional, in this case, 60,000. So if they were buying a $500,000 house and they had to put 20% down, they're putting $100,000 down. And then they had to put 60,000 on top of it because the mortgage company is only going to give what the appraisal is going to come in at.
Yeah.
So they'd have to come in with $160,000 at closing instead of just 100,000.
Just right off the top, 160,000 for
Right.
the
Right.
half a million dollar property
Plus closing costs and things like that.
and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very much a seller's market right now. It's still a great industry, a great market rather to be buying in. You just have to be careful that you don't overpay too much, because we
Hmm.
don't know where the market's going to be tomorrow,
Yeah.
right? We don't know
Yeah.
if it's going to continue to go up or, interest rates are still very low. So the likelihood of the market staying strong, in my opinion only, the market's going to stay strong as long as interest rates are low.
Mhm. And
Interest rates,
how long have they been that low? Like a long time?
they've been, see, the real estate runs in 7-8 year cycles, right? They go up, they come down, they go up, they come down, they go up, they come down. We've been
Mhm.
artificially keeping interest rates low for about 5 or 6 years now.
When you say artificially,
We've been telling the market to keep the interest rates
oh,
low.
okay, okay.
Let's
Mhm.
keep the interest rates low. Let's keep the economy strong. Now we're starting to see inflation, which
Yeah,
typically means we need to start increasing interest rates a little bit. So,
yeah, because I don't know about, probably Florida is pretty similar. We're seeing close to 7% inflation.
right,
So that's a lot.
right. So I think, with a gallon of milk and produce and products going up in price at,
Mm-hmm.
5, 7, 8, 10, 16. Cars, I think, were like 16%. They've gone up in price.
Oh
So,
my goodness.
with everything going up in price, that's what's driving inflation. And then,
Mm-hmm.
of course,
Right.
not having a lot of products to begin with, supply and demand. You
The
go to the
supply
grocery
chain
store and
problems.
go look at toilet paper and paper towels. Usually, not a lot of those products in the store right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed that for sure.
So I think it's just a matter of what's the market driving. And right now we still apparently have a bunch of ships sitting out in the ocean that can't get the supplies in fast enough because we don't have enough truckers working and
Yeah.
longshoremen taking the products off the ships and things like that. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, from a housing market right now, you just can't keep a house on the market long enough before it's sold. They're sold very, very quickly.
So what would be your number one piece of advice to seniors when they're looking to save, and like how much do I need, or what would you want to, what do you tell them?
Well, typically, I mean, by the time I usually get them, they've already decided what they were going to do in life.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
most of the seniors that I work with have pensions plus Social Security,
Mm-hmm.
plus they've sold a house up or two up north, so they made some good money there.
Yeah.
So they've got their nest egg that they're able to come down here and pay cash in most cases. Not all cases, but most cases.
And that's what I mean. I'm sure you like it when people can pay cash, because that makes the whole process easier for everyone, probably.
It does. Sometimes, not always. It just depends on the people. It's really up to the people as to how they want to handle their finances between them and their financial advisors.
Yeah.
They come to a conclusion of how they want to buy a house. And in some cases, they keep their houses up north, so they're buying this house down here as a second home, perhaps.
Like their summer home, what do they
Right.
call that?
In this case, it would be their winter home to get away
Yeah,
from the
yeah,
winters up
winter home,
north.
that's what I meant. Yeah.
So the snowbirds. So
Snowbirds, that's what I was looking for.
yeah, so there's snowbirds coming down here for December, January, February, March, April sometimes. Yeah, so typically the winter months, they're looking to escape the cold and come down and continue their life of golf and swimming and things like that they normally do back
Yeah,
home.
yeah. Nice. And
Yeah,
so what is your favorite part about your job?
I really love helping people. A lot of the people that I help are veterans.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are retired veterans, and some are, served in Korea or Vietnam or some of the other wars that we've had. And
Mhm.
that, being a veteran myself, that is, I can relate to them in a lot of different ways. We may not have worked in the same industry before, but
Mhm.
once you're military, you're always military. So you can always relate from that aspect of things. So I really do enjoy helping our male and female veterans finding their retirement home here in Central Florida.
That's really cool that you do that and you use your background as a veteran yourself to relate to people, and then they in turn probably seek you out and tell your friends, tell their friends because they're like, hey, this guy, he's a veteran, he can understand us. So,
Right. Right. So it makes the building the relationship a lot quicker,
mhm,
because we can relate to one another in a lot of different ways. I happen to come from the Northeast originally, so it makes it
okay.
easy. It makes it easier for me to relate to them and them to relate to me. So it works. It works well in a lot of different areas. I've traveled a lot, so I know. I've been in 45 states out of the 50. So I've been around the country a few times. So I know a lot of different places that people come from, so it makes it easier because I can relate to where they came from, maybe talk about a restaurant or a sports team or something like that.
Because building that rapport and that trust and talking about something they know about will be priceless, right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I've always done that in my business. I've always been a relationship building person. When I sold IT, when I was in the IT business, I'd walk into somebody's office and the first thing I'd look at is what pictures, what diplomas, and things like that in their office. Because if I saw their son played soccer, oh, my son played soccer too when he was a young boy, or
Yeah.
he played middle school and high school football, and my daughter played basketball. So, or I see traveling pictures. I can relate to that because I've done a lot of traveling in my life. So I like to build rapport, and people tend to um, um, get at ease, if you will, when you can relate to them, and that seems
Definitely.
to build relationships. And it's funny because most of my customers, um, once they start working with me and they buy here, we tend to become friends after the transaction. So, and I always become a resource for them should, they want to look for something, or they're looking for a plumber or electrician or a painter or something like that. So it really works out well because I'm constantly building rapport with them. And that's, to me, is important, because
Yeah,
that's how I want to be treated too. If I like you and, we build a good relationship, then there's no reason to continue, uh, not to continue building that relationship. And over the course of time, you don't know what somebody else is going to need, or need recommendation or what have you. So I do like building long-term relationships. I've got friends that I still communicate with from when I was 5, 6 years old. So,
oh, that's impressive.
so, it's just who I am, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I was reading in your bio that you're a that you have a multi-million dollar business that you built.
Yes,
So so you did that by building relationships.
correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, building relationships, finding 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 the right properties. And the whole thing about sales is about listening.
Yeah.
God gave us one mouth and two ears for a reason.
So we could listen more than talk, right?
Exactly.
That's hard for
E-
me at least sometimes.
exactly. But it's what I have found is that people often believe they know what they're looking for. And in
Hmm.
reality, it's something else that they're looking for.
They just don't know yet. So you help them find what
Correct.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So when people tell me they're looking, they want to be in this area, and then I show them another area because based on what we looked at in this area, it may be a totally different community.
Yeah.
But because of
All
what
different.
I saw and what I believe they wanted,
Mm-hmm.
it was really this other community and not the one they were originally seeking.
Because you
So,
know the fit of like where they'll be happy,
right.
where they will fit in more than they do, just because you know the area, the communities better.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I know that happens for me sometimes too. I may be
Mm-hmm.
looking at one item, but after looking at it, I'll give you a great example. I was looking at my wife and I were looking at new countertops that we're looking to buy, and
Mm-hmm.
she swore this was the one for her, and I'm going, eh. So I brought a sample home.
Yeah.
Didn't
She
work.
didn't want it.
She didn't want it.
Seeing it
So
in person is different, isn't it?
it's seeing it in person, and more importantly is if it's something for your house, seeing it in your house makes it
Yeah.
even stand out even more, because it's either going to look awesome, or you know what, I don't really like it now that I see it in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really looking at those sorts of things is where people are going to make determinations. Every house I've ever bought, I knew when I walked in the front door, just by walking in the
You just
front door.
knew instantly that was an instinctual, yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people are that way, to be honest with you. They know when they walk in the front door.
Yeah.
It's just,
Well,
I think it's human nature that if you see what you like
you'll know.
initially, you'll know.
You'll just know, yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what my experience tells me is, people are going to pick and choose what they want when they want it. Because
And so
I've had
for,
people I've had people that said, I'm not ready to buy now. I just want to kind of see. I'm
mm-hmm.
I'm 3 months, 6 months out, and then all of a sudden you notice you're ready to put an offer in. I thought you weren't ready to buy. We're buying. We like this house.
They like it. And so you just have to be ready whenever they're ready.
Exactly. 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 So
Oh, go ahead.
go right ahead.
I was just gonna say, so basically it sounds like to me your strength is building those relationships, and it sounds like you notice pretty quickly when people are happy about a property, or you're just like you're ready. You're always ready when they're ready. So that's what they count on you for, and that's what people know you as for your reputation.
Yes. In today's market, you have to be that way.
Hmm.
Excuse me, because houses, I was looking with a client yesterday online at a
Hmm.
house, and she was ready to go put an offer in.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, the property wasn't on the screen anymore.
Oh no,
It had gone pending while we were looking at it.
that's incredible.
So, those are things, and I was glad she saw that. She's in California,
Hmm.
I'm here, and she can see that even while we're looking at something live online, it can disappear that quick.
It can just be gone instantly. Have you ever had people buy properties online without seeing them in person first? I've heard
Yes,
about that. Wow.
yes, yes. I've had
Amazing.
several people buy properties without ever seeing it live until they've either bought it or they're buying it today. They're
So
closing
that
today.
takes really good communication on your part,
Right.
showing them, being very upfront, transparent, and then the outcome.
Right.
it was probably fine
Right.
with those
Yeah.
situations because you did that.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I know me personally, I would never do that.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it, but
I mean, let's face it, real estate is our largest investment. Our homes are our largest investments we make in our lifetime. Uh,
yeah.
Typically, unless you're buying a business or something like that. But
hmm
from a personal purchase, our homes are the biggest purchase we make in our
Yeah.
lives.
hmm
If I'm spending several $100,000, I want to see what I'm buying before I buy it.
Yes, I would. Yeah,
But
I would
that's
too.
just me. In today's market, you really can't afford to do that because
You just gotta take it.
because things obviously you want to know the area, you want to know those
Mhm.
sorts of things, and you will have wanted to have been here before. And maybe even in some cases, you already know the floor plan you like.
Okay.
That would make it easier for sure.
How many people know that going in? What
Very,
their floor
very
plan?
few.
Very few. Yeah.
Yeah, very few. They come here and they see the beauty, they see all the entertainment, they see all the amenities we have here. We have over 103 swimming pools, uh, about
hmm
58 golf courses, things like that. Three town squares where we have free nightly entertainment, over 3,000 social clubs. So live entertainment, off-Broadway shows, comedians, singers, bands come in. We have 1,000-seat performing arts theater. So when you look at what we have, um, if you're a person who is looking to have a lot of fun in your what they call golden years, um, it's really a great place to be.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot to do. There's indoor and outdoor activities, lots of restaurants, and things like that, all in a golf cart ride. I can go to 15 supermarkets. I can go to almost 120 restaurants. I can go to a hospital. I can go to doctors. I don't need a beauty parlor, but you can go to beauty parlors, you can go
Yeah.
shopping, all via golf cart. I don't ever need to get
Wow.
into a car. I do because I'm a realtor, but
Uh-huh. Yeah.
in my personal life, for the for the basics, I don't need to ever get in a car. I can go in my golf cart
So people are just driving around in their golf carts. That's just a normal thing.
all day. Yep,
That's so funny. That would be a whole different culture and feel for sure.
it is. It is. So, people say, wow, that's pretty cool. And I think what it does is it takes people back to their childhood. They look at golf carts as, a toy um,
Yeah.
for adults. So it really
hmm
works out well. Um,
Yeah.
and let's face it, they're retired. They don't have anything else to do. So
Yeah, so
if
why
it
not?
takes if it takes 5 minutes longer, who cares?
Who cares? Yeah. That's too funny.
Yeah.
And so
So
oh,
no,
sorry, go ahead.
no, go right ahead.
With the seniors, so you mentioned all the amenities and the entertainment and the supermarkets, and I would imagine because of the major demographic living there, there's a lot of medical accessibility and just, wheelchair ramps and things like that, no doubt.
Yes, believe it or not, a lot of the people that live here are self-sufficient. So there's some homes that have wheelchair ramps, not very many.
Because
You
they just
won't
don't need it.
you just don't see a lot of people because it's a very active community. You
hmm
don't see a lot of people with wheelchairs and walkers and things like that here.
Doesn't attract those people with those kind of physical handicaps.
Right. Now that
Yeah.
doesn't mean they don't wind up, with some while they're here,
hmm
but
Yeah.
with hip injuries and things like that. it makes it a lot easier with a wheelchair and things like that. But you'll see a lot of the homes here are not equipped for that.
Are they one floor, two floors, typically?
They're all typically
One
one-story
story.
home. So
Mm-hmm.
they're ranch style homes or villas.
Mm-hmm.
So it just makes it easy, right? You walk into your shower, or a small step up into your shower,
Mm-hmm.
your doorways, you walk right in, or maybe a small step up, and that's really about it.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you wanted to share or wrap up or what? I don't know if hopefully I got to your topic you wanted to talk about. I think I kind of touched on it, but
Yeah. I think my story was really what I share with people, and about moving. You know,
yeah.
the key thing with moving is figuring out what you want to bring here without overloading the truck too much, that when you get here, it doesn't fit in the house.
So let's say that someone comes with too much stuff. I know that you probably have lots of connections with storage units and storage companies that
So
can
there's
set them up.
many places, many storage facilities in the area.
That makes sense. Yeah,
It
that's good.
it just makes it easier.
Then they can have their stuff over here and kind of move it over as they want to.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really that was really the thought of the topic, was
Mhm.
to, how do people figure out what it is and what they do with their stuff? Because a lot of people have a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I definitely have a lot less stuff than I used to, but I know people that have lots of stuff, and that's a real thing, but it's a big issue.
well, it's a big issue, because I mean, if you look at people who put stuff in storage, they're there
Mhm.
for years.
Yeah, they don't even know what's there anymore, right?
They
Like,
forget.
how would you know?
They forget
Yeah.
what they have. And they put it on their credit card, and it's just a credit card charge every month. They just pay the credit card,
It's automatic, yeah.
and they don't think about it. So
Mhm.
I mean, that's the challenge with bringing too much stuff down, is
Yeah.
that you wind up with a long-term bill, to the point that the stuff may not even be worth what you've paid in storage fees. Never mind
It
the
starts
cost to bring
to
it down here.
yeah, moving pianos, I don't even wanna think about
Right.
those types
So
of things.
yeah, I mean, pianos are even, that's a whole different topic,
Mhm.
because it's got to be packed professionally. It's got to be unpacked professionally and put back
Yeah.
together. Otherwise, it's out of tune, or it's broken, or what have you. I mean, I had one of my customers, theirs broke. Their piano broke
It's
on the way here.
devastating.
And I mean, the insurance company fixed it for them,
Oh,
but
good.
they still had to go through the headache of finding somebody to fix it, and going through insurance.
It's a huge hassle.
Yeah, it's a huge hassle. So the, the items that you really want to bring. All of those that are in question, you probably
So
don't
just
want to,
don't bother, right?
yeah, you probably don't want to bring it. If it's a questionable item, don't bring it.
Yeah,
Sell it and take the money and go buy what you want when you're down here.
that's good advice. How do people sell stuff, just online, or how do your clients usually,
Well,
customers?
there's a good app called Nextdoor.
Oh, yeah, I have that app.
Nextdoor is a community app that you can find out recommendations, good or bad. You have,
Mhm.
every
Yeah.
so often, you have somebody who doesn't do the right thing or what have you. But
Mhm.
and then you have good recommendations out there. You have people who are selling things. That's really one of the easiest ways to get. And then garage sales, of course.
Yeah.
This time of year, it's a little harder, because it might be snowing and it might be really cold out.
Yeah.
if you're in an apartment or a condo, it's a little bit harder than if you're trying to sell stuff in a house. But
Mhm.
I mean, there are many different ways to sell items today.
There's so many apps. Yeah, you just gotta pick one, and yeah, the next store I've used that to just tell people I was giving stuff away on, on my sidewalk for the next
Right.
3 hours or whatever, and then they
Yeah.
come get it.
Yeah. I mean, you've got Next Door, you've got Offer Up, you got the old
Yeah,
Craigslist.
Let Go, I think was one that I used
Yeah.
before.
There's,
Yeah.
I mean, there's several, like you said, several apps out there. And just get the word out. Tell your neighbors, hey, I'm going to be having stuff. I'm going to be having a garage sale, and they tell neighbors, and then they tell neighbors, and before you know it, you've got 100 people in your driveway looking to purchase things.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, awesome. Is there anything that I can do to help your business out?
No, I appreciate the opportunity of doing a podcast with you, and I'm looking to do more of them. For any other topics, if you're thinking of real estate related type of topics, I'd be more than happy to talk to you
Yeah.
and do
Yeah,
some
I would
more of
love
these
to,
with you.
because you have a lot of experience, and your life is very interesting, and I like how you share your story and use that to build relationships.
Yeah.
And my podcast is very new, my business podcast is. So I really appreciate you, taking the time on a Sunday to come and talk and share your
Yeah.
story.
No, my pleasure. My pleasure. When you asked me, I said absolutely not a problem at all. Yeah, I enjoy doing these. Um, it's just a
Do you
way to
do
get the
a lot
word
of
out.
interviews?
I've done several interviews. The last one I did was one of the last ones I did was with a agent out of New Jersey, and he sees the influx of people leaving New Jersey coming here to Florida. So we
Oh,
talked about that for about 45 minutes, because there is a lot of people coming from the New York, New Jersey area coming down to the South because of the cost of living. No,
okay. I was gonna ask. Yeah, that makes sense.
no pen, no tax, no state income tax. So their pensions aren't being taxed
Okay,
and
yeah.
things like that. Property taxes tends to be cheaper here. So
Mhm.
when they buy their house here, they're not paying as much as they were paying in New Jersey or New York. I've got people in New York that have moved down here that said, Donald, my whole Social Security check was going to pay for my property tax. Now here, 2 months of my Social Security check is paying for my taxes.
That's about half of what they were
Right,
paying.
right.
Mhm.
So it's, when you start looking at cost cost of where I'm living today versus where I would be living perhaps in Florida,
Mhm.
it's going to be significant to the point that you're going to see a lot more of your money than you were before.
Which we
Just,
always want.
yeah, and we always want more because we want to do more, right? In
Mhm.
in the case of people being retired, they're not working anymore, so they need something to occupy their time.
Yeah.
So in some cases, it's traveling. In some cases, it's I want to go do this or I want to go do that. I want to see my kids, so I'm going to go back up north in the summertime and rent for a
Mhm.
couple of months while I'm up there, or stay with family while I'm there, so I could take them to uh, out to the beach or to the parks or
Yeah.
to what have you, or simply bring them down here and let them enjoy the Christmas holidays down here or the holidays down here.
Yeah. As long as, because the humidity is not as bad in December,
Right, right,
winter time. Yeah.
right. Yeah. So, there's a lot of those sorts of things that people, can use their money for. And unfortunately, a lot of the money gets used for healthcare related type things.
Yeah. Things
You
we
know,
just can't plan for, right?
the things we can't plan for. Right. Exactly. But yeah,
Well, thank you so much.
yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. Like I said, anytime, feel free to reach out to me. And if I can
Okay,
help, I'd be
cool.
more than happy to help.
I'd love that. Do you have a podcast as well?
I don't.
Okay.
I've been thinking a lot about it. I'm just trying to figure out the right way to go about it.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
I'm just starting out too, but if you ever want to know how my thing is going, you can always ask me questions, shoot me an email, and I'll answer. So
okay, awesome. Well, thank you.
no problem.
All
Thank
righty.
you.
Thank you. You have a good day.
Thanks, you too,
All
Donald.
righty. Bye-bye.
Nice to talk to you. Bye bye.